What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update, second stimulus package update. We're going to be talking about the direct check that's going to be sent out to Americans from this new stimulus package. We're going to be talking about the differences between what the Democrats want and what the Republicans want and how this could actually mean more money for you guys. We're going to talk about President Trump, what he wants for this next stimulus check. And we're also going to talk about dependents. I've had a lot of questions from you guys about adult dependents, how much dependents are going to get. Are adult dependents going to get it? Is my 17 or 18-year-old child going to get it? And we're also going to talk about child support. I've had a lot of questions from you guys about, will you get the check if back child support is due? We're going to cover a whole bunch of information for you guys in this video. I'm going to answer all your questions about the next stimulus check and what we know so far. So if you can, hit the like button for me. Me and my wife are spending hours and hours every single day to research all this information for you so you can get all the new stimulus check news by watching a couple minutes of my video every single day. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on new stimulus check news coming out. Okay, let's start with the big news about the actual check and the money for unemployment. So in this new stimulus package that is proposed by the Senate Republicans called the HEALS Act, and that's not these type of heals, it's HEALS. That includes a $1,200 check that will be sent out directly to Americans. As soon as they pass this, they're trying to pass this before the August recess, which is in about 2 weeks. When they pass this bill, you'll probably start seeing money in your bank account within 2 weeks. That's about how long it took once the first stimulus bill was passed. So we could be having money in our bank accounts within the next few weeks. Also, let's talk about the possibility of this $1,200 check being a higher amount. So first up, President Donald Trump, who is obviously the leader of the Republicans, has publicly come out and said this month that he wanted a larger stimulus check than Democrats. But that's not what has actually happened, or at least yet so far. President Donald Trump actually came out and said that he was kind of upset with the stimulus proposal from the Senate Republicans, and he called the stimulus plan semi-irrelevant. President Trump even went on to tell reporters that there are some provisions in the proposal that he doesn't support. So the question is did President Trump mislead us, or is he going to try to make the stimulus check larger before the election happens? We're going to find out new information coming out in the next few days. And will President Trump come out and actually speak against the amount the stimulus check is for and try to make it more like $2,000? The Democrats have come out and said that they are going to negotiate on this next stimulus package. They're not going to just pass it as it is, but they're working very hard to get this passed within the next 2 weeks before the August recess. Nancy Pelosi did say that they wouldn't go on, or they would delay their August recess from the House of Representatives if it is needed to still pass this next stimulus package and next stimulus check to Americans. Currently, there is one part of the stimulus check that Democrats want to be higher than Republicans, and that is the amount of the check to dependents. Currently in the HEROES Act, that the Democrats passed about 2 months ago, their bill said that they wanted a $1,200 check to Americans and also a $1,200 check to dependents, including adult dependents. So $1,200 per child or per adult dependent. And again, that was the Democrats' plan from the HEROES Act, and this could be one of the places that they negotiate on. Currently in the HEALS Act, the Republicans want $500 per dependent, including adults. So both the Republicans and the Democrats are going to give a $500 check to adult dependents and to child dependents. So it looks like all dependents are going to get at least $500, okay? Adult dependents and child dependents, okay? But The Democrats want $1,200 per dependent, including both children and adults. Okay, so it looks like all dependents are going to get at least $500 to $1,200 per dependent. Now, there's one more big difference, and that is the amount of dependents you can claim. The Democrats, which want $1,200 per dependent, want to have a maximum of 3 dependents, but at $1,200. The Republicans want $500 per dependent, but with no limit. So if you have 5 children, you can actually get a check for each one of those at $500. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you think it's better to have a $1,200 check per dependent with a limit of 3, or a $500 check per dependent with no limit at all? This is going to be one of the areas that might be negotiated on and could actually include a higher amount of check for dependents. Also in that, adult dependents are included in both of these proposals by the Senate and the Republicans. So adult dependents will be included to get a check at least $500 to $1,200. Also, let's talk about child support. If somebody owes back child support, will they receive a check? And this is another point where the Republicans and the Democrats differ and might be negotiated on. Currently in the HEALS Act, the Republicans want people who owe child support to be excluded, meaning their stimulus check could get taken and they would not receive it. It would go to the person they owe child support to. But the Democrats in their bill, the HEROES Act, they want the person who owes child support to be able to receive their check so that they have some money to live on, and it would not go to the person that they owe child support to. So again, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you think if somebody owes child support, they should be able to receive their stimulus check so they have some money to, live on and pay for bills? Or do you think because they owe it to the person they owe child support, it should go to that person because they already owe that money? Another big problem with the stimulus bill, even though we know that both Democrats and Republicans support a stimulus check and an unemployment boost extension, is that a lot of Republicans are actually against another stimulus package, and they're actually against sending out money to Americans. Senator Ted Cruz, a Republican from Texas, says about the next stimulus package, it's a mistake. I think we should be focused on reopening the economy, not simply shoveling trillions of dollars out of Washington. I think this bill is the wrong approach. Senator Sass from Nebraska said there are hundreds of problems with this plan. In particular, they're all upset about a $1.75 billion in the bill to build a new FBI building. They go on to say, I just don't understand, how is this tied to the virus and the pandemic? That is one of the problems that both the Democrats with their HEROES bill and the Republicans with the HEALS Act have both had problems with, is that they included too much fluff, too many other things that weren't significantly important right now. The main things that are going on right now is we need a stimulus check to Americans, we need an unemployment extension, we need money for cities that are on the verge of bankruptcy, money for schools, and money for virus supply, testing, and vaccines. Everything else really doesn't matter that much. The other main problem that is just a massive problem that's putting a complete, huge, big black cloud over this entire plan is that they didn't negotiate with the Democrats ahead of time. It's like, what was the point of doing this if you didn't negotiate with the Democrats? So now they have to spend the next coming days negotiating with the Democrats and then basically rewrite this plan. Now, they can do that pretty quickly. They can do that within a few days once they actually meet an agreement. But really, they should have just did this ahead of time. Instead of making a political statement and coming out with their own plan, why didn't they just negotiate behind closed doors ahead of time, then come out with a plan that everybody supports? In fact, Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, said that she thinks that it might not even pass the Senate. And we've heard rumors that up to 50% of Republicans, that they actually might vote against their own plan in the Senate. And a lot of this problem is that Mitch McConnell didn't even talk with Republicans. He just drafted this bill and then kind of released it to them and then released it to the Democrats and the public with a few days later. So the problem is you got to kind of talk about this stuff ahead of time so you have some hope of passing it. Now they're going to have to negotiate with the Democrats and rewrite this bill. The good news is that they have met with Democrats a few days ago and they're meeting with the Democrats again today. So they're meeting very frequently to iron out these details. Both the Democrats and the Republicans do want to pass a bill before the August recess. Yeah, there are a few Republicans that are against a bill entirely. They just don't want to do any help at all for America or get a stimulus check out to Americans. I mean, I don't know what world they're living in. I mean, they're, they got these $10 million houses and they think there's no problem in America and that, tens of millions of people being unemployed isn't a problem for America and everything's just going to go back to normal. Those people are completely out of touch. Everybody that's not even somewhat out of touch wants to pass at least somewhat of a bill. Both the Democrats and the Republicans want $1,200 at least, and it could be negotiated higher. The other big issue that is going to be negotiated on is the extension of unemployment benefits. Currently in this new HEALS Act, the Republicans want $200 per week bonus as the federal unemployment boost money. That is a reduction from the current $600 per week that is expiring on July 31st. What they want to do is they want to extend it at $200 per week until October. Then, once October comes, the $200 per week will go away, and what will happen is they plan to have a new system implemented across all 50 states and the federal government that would be able to calculate everybody's wages, and it would then pay you 70% of your wages, and that's with the state and the federal government boost combined. So, for example, if you made $1,000 a week, your state benefit and your federal benefit would be $700, 70% of what you made. So, if you made $1,000 per week, you'd get, say, $400 from your state and $300 from the federal government, just as an example, with a $500 cap from the federal government. And if you made, say, $500 per week, you again would get 70% as the total amount from your state and your government, so $350 per week, which is 70% of your $500. That plan, the Democrats are kind of against that because they have to spend billions of dollars. That plan, the Democrats are kind of against because they're going to have to spend billions of dollars to try to revamp this whole unemployment system so that they can do the whole 70% thing between the state and the federal government by October. And the Democrats just want to have a flat amount all the way through. The Democrats did come out and say that they're okay with it not being $600, but they're probably going to negotiate up from the $200. So my guess is it'll probably be somewhere like $300 or $400. $400 would be exactly in the middle between $200 and $600. So that I kind of feel is the most likely amount. The Democrats currently want to have the $600 extended all the way into January. So if they extend at, say, $400 per week, it's very likely it could go to the end of the year. The good news is that they're meeting again with the Democrats today to negotiate on the stimulus check. So I will keep you guys updated. Make sure you've hit the subscribe button and hit the like button for me if you haven't yet already. And up top here is my newest stimulus check video. Make sure you watch that next. And over here is a video that teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income by selling one product on Amazon. Thanks guys, and I will see you in the next video.